Hello and welcome to Polytrope, podcast of many twists and turns. Guess this is another video cast, another mid-workday check-in. Take an adventure with me, if you will. The year is 1992, and we've been assigned an important job. So the Marvel comic book universe has these comic cards. So you got Galactus here, and he's got these power ratings. You can see that: strength, speed, agility, stamina, durability, intelligence, all on a 0 to 7 scale. In the 1991 edition, got a lot of flack for poorly distributed rankings that didn't make any sense. So the Marvel folks have hired you and me to make things right for the 92 edition. So it's just a little brainstorming here. So, one thing we're going to do is we're going to go through every comic book character. There's about 500, I'm not sure, something like that, and give them rankings. It's going to take some time, but we bill hourly. This is what we do. So our interface maybe has something like this here that we can use, and so I can take a character. Let's say I've got to update Galactus. I mean, I think he's a little overpowered on strength and intelligence, frankly, but his agility's not that bad, is it? I don't know. So let's just start working on a new score here. We'll kind of give him how good his speed isn't, but his strength is very high. So maybe a 1. He's very durable. He is super smart. Okay, so let's go with that. But I mean, how do I know that I've given any kind of good score, right? Well, I probably need some sense of something like total score. That's 6 plus 3 plus 1. That's 10 plus 14. It's 24 out of a possible 42. Right? Doesn't really give me that much more information, so I probably wanted my interface like 50th percentile, something like that. And maybe this is live updating, so that if I give them a little bit more speed, this is magically updating to whatever. Right? So that that's kind of helpful, but just giving me percentiles is a little bit weird. I'll probably keep bumping everybody up, so I kind of need some sense of the overall distribution. So maybe I have something like this, and so this is like where Galactus is on his score, and then the overall distribution of the characters. And maybe I'm working against some target distribution, so I really want maybe most characters to be middling, some characters to be truly awful, and a very select number of characters to be great. So maybe he can go up and down this distribution, and the distribution itself changes as I move his ratings around. That's pretty cool. But then maybe what I want to see is his neighbors here. So let's say now Galactus is this node. Here are the people immediately to his left and right. He's a little bit stronger than, what's this guy's name? Rogue? No, that's Rogue, and that's Gambit. Stronger than Gambit, weaker than Rogue. Quick side note, by the way, they made Gambit incredibly weak. Can we look at his whole... Look at that. Poor Gambit. But as it says, he's just a guy from New Orleans. He's just a thief. So it makes sense that he's not really super strong. So these numbers are made up. Obviously, Gambit is nowhere near Galactus in the ratings chart. All the same. This might be an easy way for me to kind of just quickly compare Galactus with his neighbors, and maybe I think, well, he should be... he should swap with Rogue, and so maybe that's a quick way of changing Rogue's stats to just lower them a little bit, or maybe I tap Rogue and now she becomes sort of the selected character, and I work on her stats for a while to get things going. So I feel like now we're at an interface that's pretty usable. But of course, I'm a huge Marvel Universe fan. I know most of this stuff, but every once in a while I'll be faced with like neighbors, and I actually don't know how to compare them. How do I compare Rogue with Galactus? And so then maybe I can have like a little bit of a history of neighbors and sort of figure out their head-to-head stats. And this gets very controversial within the comic book character rating universe. If you go to one of the conferences and bring the subject up, you'll get a lot of arguments, because there's a subset of people who think that my job should be eliminated, that humans shouldn't be rating characters at all. Rather, we should just be going off of the history and actually saying, well, Gambit beat Galactus in 1976, but Galactus beat Rogue in Annihilation, and if you take up all this fighting history, you actually might get ratings that sort themselves out. Of course, then the pushback there is, well, how do you know how to rate them on these things? Just because Rogue beat Galactus doesn't mean that Rogue should have a stronger overall score. Then you get the pushback again. Well, you can look at the history and see that, in this fight, Rogue outsmarted Galactus, so her intelligence should be higher, but Galactus beat the heck out of Gambit, so his strength should be higher. Then you've got questions around collaboration and how to talk about teamwork, because oftentimes you've got a lot of X-Men going against Galactus at the same time, so how do you distribute things like intelligence when it's a team effort? Anyway, it gets really out of hand, but if you talk to the higher-ups at Marvel, they're beginning to think that there might be algorithms that can actually start to do this work for us and eliminate these jobs. But the year is 1992. I think that that future is a long way off, and so for now, I'm happy to sort of be the human intermediary, sort of just evaluating these superheroes to the best of my ability, based on their history, based on their neighbors, based on a distribution of how I want the overall sort of character universe to be laid out, and most of all to make sure that the kids have fun. All right, see you next time.